and welcome to the Heed the Call, the inaugural. Don't say first annual. No one likes when you do that, because that's not what it is. There's no such thing as a first annual. The second annual, this is the inaugural. Heed the Call, NFL Draft live stream, round one. Dan Hanzus here, Marc Sessler, Conor Orr, live on YouTube right now. We have hundreds and hundreds of people in the live chat. Feel the excitement. You know how exciting it is? Yes, Conor's wearing a soccer kit, but we're used to that by now. That looks like a new quarter zip for Marc Sessler.
Well, from a show angle, yes. Like I pulled it out of if you're a guy, you've got hampers of like stuff that's been folded ages ago. I found it deep in a hamper, and it's like that's what I'll be wearing tonight. And I'm very excited to be part of this with the two of you, and also Justin. What a big night for Justin. Let's be honest.
Ooh, big night. How you doing, Conor?
I'm doing great. I don't know if we're gonna get the explosives that everyone keeps promising here. I think it'd be kind of dumb if the Browns traded out, but let's talk about it. Let's see what happens.
There was I was watching some of the, and I cannot wait for this draft to be over. It's just not.
Well, let's
for me.
dig into that. Why?
No, we got plenty of time to dig into. I'm just like, it's not my thing. It's my least favorite time of the NFL year. It's my least favorite month of the show. It's just a grinded out sesh, right? And I'm watching some of the pre-show, and first you have Cam Ward saying on live television, "What would it mean to you to go number one in the draft?" And let me just get his exact quote here. Just the excitement pulsating through the world right now. It really wouldn't mean anything to me, honestly. All right, sell. And then also on ESPN, they cut to a bunch of jabrones who are talking about the draft, and they're like, this draft actually doesn't start until round 2. And then you can actually hear the producers in the IFB is like, hamana. Actually, the draft starts at pick 4. Don't turn away. Here we go. So, yeah, let's do it. It's the draft.
What we do is like what to the point of what you just said, like the viewer that watches our show, we're not going to try to snow you over or snow you under. Like we just tell you, these are some issues we're dealing with this particular season's production of the draft. And we get that.
Marc, Conor?
I think this is sort of like a supercharged version of like the Eric Fisher, Luke Jokel draft. But we have, because we've come to re-understand the running back in a different way, I feel like that adds a little bit of flavor. Like the wide receiver class is down. And Travis Hunter. I mean, so I think it's like Jokel draft plus. It's not great. It's not last year. It's not 2018, but it's not bad. It's okay, right?
Yeah, and it doesn't. I agree with you on that. That's kind of where it slots in, and I also think, for the purposes of this show, the fact that the 1-2 picks are to the Titans and the Browns, and the Titans obviously are going to pick Cam Ward in just a few minutes, and the Browns should pick Travis Hunter. I guess to me, as someone who, Marc, has rooted for a dumb team that does stupid things and fails constantly for decades on end, there is the chance that they trade out of this pick and overthink it when it seems by many people's estimation that Hunter is actually the best player in the draft. So the fact that you're going to get him without the first pick and without having to trade up to get him would be a gift for the organization, frankly. Let's see if they're smart enough to just stay put and not try to be – what a hideous hoodie and dress jacket and tie combo on Schefter. What is happening there?
I've been watching that for hours, and I don't know if it was a weather issue, but it is I don't know who advised him on that. We don't need to go down that road with the hoodie under the
back to the Browns, though, Marc. Sorry, I just got distracted by a hideous combination.
So our friend Josh Norris had tweeted about it. We talked about it a couple weeks ago when Julio Jones announced it. Like, if you're going to trade out of the pick and another team like the Falcons goes and gets like a Julio Jones type figure, and then you've got to try to mask it for the next 10 years.
You are a factory of sadness!
You get 3 to 4 people, but like the idea that those 3 to 4 people equal like a truly superstar player that changes the way we think about your organization, and they're doing like, documentaries about the Cleveland Browns that pick Travis Hunter versus the team that trades down and takes 4 jabronis. Like I saying for once, and I know Conor's shaking his head, but like for once, because they've done this 7 times, just take the star player. Take the star player.
Here's why I would disagree. And not only because I have a column about this going live in T-minus like 13 minutes as soon as the pick goes up. But when you look at what it took to get Travis Hunter to be Travis Hunter at Colorado, a lot of it are not typical characteristics that you would associate with the Cleveland Browns, right? Everything about the way that they meet, the way that they time things, the way that they communicate has to be flawless in order to get a guy who's still developing as a cornerback and still understanding defense to be able to be on both sides of the ball at the same time. And if it doesn't work out, you have to protect against infighting, against leaking, against blaming, against prematurely firing somebody who at least has some semblance of a plan. And so if you're looking at it from like a global perspective, it's like the Browns could make themselves way better tomorrow by just drafting Abdul Carter and taking Myles Garrett away from the highest double team rate in the NFL, 30%. Double team rate in the NFL. Myles Garrett has the worst, and he's going into his age 30 season. Abdul Carter gets you better tomorrow, and then you don't have to worry about like this. Jimmy Haslam's been swinging out of his shoes now for 5 years, right? He's been, everything was kind of okay. You made the playoffs at Baker Mayfield. Now we blow it up and go get Deshaun Watson. This to me is a similar move, whereas Abdul Carter, I just think it's down the fairway and it makes you better right away without the mystery.
Can I mention just 2 names, 2 human names? Courtney Brown, the Quiet Storm, okay, and Gerard Warren.
I have a Gerard Warren jersey. I know.
Yeah, these were in very early seasons, and Gerard Warren. Like we won't take LaDainian Tomlinson. Let's take Gerard Warren, who's like 2 years in, nailed for like gun possession and robbing like a minor bank. Like so, it's like I would just say this. Like teams that don't have any experience with star power, all those difficulties you mentioned are present and real. I would take for once the truly strange, beautiful unicorn star. That's all I would say.
And what could go wrong? But I'm with you. Take the dude. Take the dude that excites the fan base and can change you on both sides of the ball. By the way, classic alien mistake there, Marc. Right off the bat, 8 minutes into the stream, you don't have to say human names. Just say names. That is a classic alien
You
move.
chose to host the show with myself and Conor and and Justin. It's like I am part of the problem. So like I've been doing this for years. You knew this.
I'm just trying to help you. If you're trying to go undetected in Earth society, those are like the little things. Those are like what they call what the humans call in English tells in the gambling realm. That's a classic tell, classic alien move. By the way, coming up. Once we get around out of the chalky area, although who knows, maybe the top 3 picks won't be chalky. Josh and Hayden will join us. After that, we'll have Jay Gruden will join us. Mike and Jourdan are going to join us, and maybe even some more special guests coming in for this. And yes, also, I think I heard Gravedigger try to cue himself as I'm just trying to set the table as a host. But Justin, how are you, buddy?
I'm good, thanks. I was doing that because the pick is in, and I thought the Titans would take all 10 minutes just for showmanship, but with 4:50 on the clock, the pick is in.
Great.
So that's why I grave-diggered there.
And this is, why don't we'll stop here for a second. Justin, I know sometimes we give you a hard time about your Titans fandom, but you don't get very many of these. Even me as a Jets fan, we haven't had a number 1 overall pick in almost 30 years. So the fact that you get the first pick in the draft, I know we know where this is going, but take us through the process right now as a Titans fan.
Yeah, it's super exciting. I mean, there's like a tiny voice in the back of your head saying like, what if they don't do it? But like we all know they're definitely going to take Cam Ward here. And I have fallen in love with Cam Ward throughout the pre-draft process. Just everything I've read about him as a person, not just as a player on the field. So for me, it's like, can this finally be the guy, the first franchise quarterback the Titans have had since Steve McNair walked out the door and they locked him out of the building? I sure hope so. I want to believe so. Of course, it's always a crapshoot and it's a weak quarterback class. Oh, here comes Goodell.
There he comes. Boo his ass. He was always nice to us.
I know. Give me a break.
There he is. So there you go.
We
buddy.
did it.
The Tennessee Titans have their new quarterback, and it's the number 1 overall pick out of Miami. How about that? How about that? Now we find out. Now now we're going to find out, and great job. Man, we got over 1,400 people almost in the stream right now. Excellent. Welcome, everybody. Cam Ward. Now we find out, Justin, because I'm sure, because I would be the same way. In the back of your mind, you're like, all right, we had the number 1 overall pick. We got the quarterback. This was the draft where they said there was no superstar in the draft at quarterback. So have I talked myself into this guy being a difference maker? I'm sure you have. Let's tell us why he's the dude for you.
Well, it's not just what he does on the field. He can win from in the pocket. His highlight reel plays all come from outside of the pocket.
Thank God. I thought you were going to say he does great charity work, and then I was going to get
I thought I did too. I was like,
that's a red flag.
I'll get to that in a moment. But no, his ability to win and play from within the pocket.
Whoa,
is
the
most
Jaguars have
important
traded
thing.
up.
Oh shit! It actually happened.
Oh my gosh, the Jaguars have traded with the Cleveland Browns.
I can't believe the Browns did that.
I knew it from the moment I saw the picture of the Jaguars GM. He was wearing one of those trendy Express hoodies over a suit jacket, and you knew that guy was coming to work.
It's like a reverse draft day, but I'm not thrilled with either of the productions.
All right, let's break this down a little bit, and we'll get back to Cam Ward. Sorry, Justin, but this is what we were just saying, Mark, that Travis Hunter is there, the special two-way talent. There haven't been many guys like him in the history of the this league, and you have him there at 2, and instead you move out of the pick. So, Justin, when we have the particulars of the trade, let's hear them. But right now, it looks like Travis Hunter is likely going to the Jaguars.
Not much. Look at so I have the trade details. The Browns are trading number 2 overall, a 4th round pick, and a 6th round pick. The Jaguars are trading the number 5 overall pick, 2nd round pick, 4th round pick, and their 2026 first rounder. Holy shit.
Okay, that's a big one.
Wow. I would have done that deal in a heartbeat.
On what side?
Well,
Cleveland.
Yeah.
You need to rebuild your entire offensive line.
You are right, and yet there is an aura of disappointment around it at the same time. You know what I mean? Just like, of course you're sitting ducks, and you're gonna.
Here's what's interesting to me, right? So with Trevor Lawrence, okay, if you see him as a wide receiver first, that's fine. But you're now pairing Travis Hunter with a 34-year-old GM, first-time head coach, and first-time play-calling defensive coordinator. You really have to have a serious conviction in this guy if you're Jacksonville to also give up next year's 1 and feel like you're way closer than everybody else in the world thinks you are.
And we're certain here that the Jags are going to go with?
I believe absolutely
with Hunter.
Absolutely.
It makes sense. We've heard.
Yes,
we've heard a lot.
You don't do this for Abdul Carter. It's like you don't do this for.
Jourdan has done a lot of reporting on the new GM. What's his name? Gladstone.
Yes.
And you've heard repeatedly out there that the Jaguars were, quote, looking to make a splash. And here is that splash as they move up the board and they surrender big. And that could turn it if the Jaguars fall on their face again this year and Trevor Lawrence can't stay healthy. This could really set up well for the Browns. But yeah, Mark, my initial reaction is it's just kind of not the excitement. And then if they trade back and then go get somebody where Jordan Schultz is reporting that they're targeting the trenches and improving in there. I get that. That's how good teams are built. But maybe a little flash and sizzle this year would have been nice. It's just not going to happen.
It is a study, to Conor's point, that we're all amped up to watch the flashiest skill player be drafted by our team. But the best players typically are the big giant dudes that are blowing people up when it's raining and snowing and horrible days. So
there
I'm
you
with
go.
that.
Talk yourself into it. Ceci.
Well, no, I'm
not.
I'm not. This is sort of
not a great offensive lineman draft.
But don't always be you go to a whenever you go to a wedding and the girl has got 42 bridesmaids. Don't be the 4th bridesmaid, and that's sort of what the Browns are willing to be. And it's it's unflashy, it's spectacular, and then the fan base has to talk themselves into it, like you said.
Well, I guess the flashy, obviously, Deshaun Watson was an extremely flashy move, and it was perhaps the most devastating
flashy,
trade.
but also like it confronted our morals. So
right.
that's,
By flashy, I mean the idea of trading away all the first round picks and then the guaranteed money and thinking you have a franchise quarterback, ethics and morals be damned for the next decade plus. That didn't work out so well. So they're going now in potentially a different conversation. And we'll see. Do they even trade back out of 5? Now there are a lot of options on the table for Cleveland.
Well, not all options, but yeah, I guess we're watching. It's like, I guess you are. I appreciate both of you trying to kind of talk me into this, and Justin's over there swimming like breaststroke laps in his private pool in Dallas at this point. But it's like,
no, I
wanted this player. So
yeah,
I
know it's smart, and it's especially smart if you have a team where you trust that they're going to do something with the draft picks. But you had a sure thing, I think, in Hunter. This from Buck Reising. Adam Schefter says
Buck
the
Rising,
Giants
104.5 The Zone.
Adam Schefter said the Giants offered this year's first, next year's first, and multiple other picks to the Titans for number 1, and they still declined. Man, the Giants, they're like scratching. They got a fix for a quarterback, and they still can't find him.
Second year in a row that they've tried to get up, and I think part of the reason that the Patriots did not trade out of that pick last year is that the people calling to trade up were Kevin O'Connell and Brian Dable, 2 guys who know the position just as good as anybody in the NFL. And I wonder if that sort of reverberated here a little bit, where it's like and you could say what you will about Dable, but he knows the position. And if he's calling and trying to knock down your door, you're like, well, maybe he's that good. We should probably just hold on to him.
Do you think, because there was a lot of whispers, and whispers is soft, but that Trevor Lawrence was potentially someone that was subject or talked about in trade talks. I don't mean just from the Browns angle. Would that ever have happened? Well, we can table that, but
man, they did it. Mark, I knew you should have put trades in your mock draft right off the bat.
Well, you were right, and I'm only left annoyed at who I am as a person.
I mean, who the F is going to play defensive tackle for the Jaguars? I know everyone likes their mock because it creates a neat and tidy world, but every single coach that comes into that place and goes out of that place is like, we can't play defense until we have someone on the defensive interior. Mason Graham would have just plopped right into your lap if you would have sat there. I mean, they really have to have conviction that this guy's special.
You know what else? I think it really speaks to the desperation, I think, of the organization to really max out Trevor Lawrence and feel like he was the generational guy, and then you pay him on top of the number 1 pick. And now I guess this leaves no doubt in terms of, we gave you everything you could want, and now we're giving you this very special wide receiver talent.
Well, can I interject one concept? 180,000 people under the age of 25 just bought Jaguars jerseys with Travis Hunter's name on it. So it's
He's reading the pick right now. Eric Armstead, a guy who might have to play inside now for Jacksonville's defensive line.
I think he's doing his Man of the Year talk right now.
We have a trade. The Cleveland Browns have traded the 2nd pick to the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I hope we don't get copyright banged for the TV sound coming through Dan's mic.
We'll find out.
The stream just goes down like draft day again.
There you go.
Here's what's coming next. The Browns now have multiple 2s, and if I'm the Giants, I'm a little bit worried because they now command that 2nd round, who's coming up late in the 1st to get Jackson Dart, right? Or whoever it is, right? They now have the most ammo to be able to climb back into the 1st round and get the quarterback that slips to them. And I think that might have very much been part of the equation here.
I like Conor getting me back involved into the process here.
Let's see. So Ward 1, Hunter 2 to the Jags. I think we were trying to get our predictions out, and then time got away from us a little bit. But I do think 3 quarterbacks end up going in this 1st round. I think Dart goes in the 1st round too. And to your point, Conor, if the Browns want to move up, they can do it now and maybe grab him late in the first round before somebody else or before he gets to day 2. That's an option. Or he ends up going even earlier. I don't know. What do you guys think? I got the 2.5 quarterbacks taken in the first round. I got the over on that.
Yes, at this point, I'd say maybe if someone, well, Cleveland sits at 33. Here's why maybe you go under, because if they had to trade back up to 32 to take like Jalen or something, I'd say yes, but 2 feels safe at the moment.
I think there's going to be 3, and I think one of them is going to be Jalen Milroe, which was my bold prediction going into this.
So someone hopscotches the Browns to take him in the last couple picks of the second or of the first round there.
I was thinking about it the other day, right? Because the 5th-year option used to be such a big deal, which is why we saw a lot of late round deals for guys like Lamar Jackson and Teddy Bridgewater in years past. But because all the mega QB extensions are based off of traditional like top 5 picks who have the 5th-year option and it's calculated in any way, I really don't think it's that big of a deal anymore. Like if this player is awesome that you get in the second round, like you're going to have to pay him commensurate with that anyway. And so to me, like having that 5th-year option, you would have to extend him before that anyway. It doesn't really matter to me as much as I think as it used to. And I think maybe some of these teams actually like the idea of having it be a second round pick contract and it just being, easier to cut ties with and cut bait with. That said, because no one knows, and this is such a choose your flavor QB class, you're probably going to have to come up into the back end of the first to get the guy that you want.
This from Schefter. With tonight's trade, the Browns are now armed to select a quarterback in this or next year's draft. They currently own 3 of the top 36 picks, number 5, number 33, and number 36. Then they own the Jaguars' 2026 first-round pick. The pick is in for the Giants. The pick for the Giants feels very, very likely to be Abdul Carter right now. And I don't see any other way this goes. He's been connected to them. Obviously, they tried to move up for the quarterback, so the crazier things have happened, but it seems like he is the best option for the She-Man right now.
Shador would be the shocker, but I'm with you.
There's Hunter. Yeah, I don't know. Did Jaguars fan? Do we get some Jaguars fans? They cut to some Jaguars fans in Green Bay, and they seemed paid to me. They seemed
Those
like
exist?
actors.
Well,
No,
we
they
saw it. We saw a fan with a Browns jersey and a Titans cap on. That felt like a plant.
don't. Yeah, that's true. What's going on in the chat, Justin? Throw some up for us.
They got to be loving this.
Oh, I like this one. This is good. Why does Conor look like an enforcer for the Russian mafia? Maybe he is. Maybe be careful with what you say. Just throwing it out there.
We're
Justin,
looking in
throw
for
it up,
me.
buddy.
Okie dokie.
That is
How
the
about
second
this
time
one?
I've asked you.
I'm a pandering. I like pandering. Pandering's fun.
Justin
Well,
is a huge.
that's not
What
new.
is this? Justin, what are we doing?
It's like from your mom or
Ready
dad
to
or something. What?
Put comments on the screen.
Thanks, Party Jay.
What was the Connor? Can you remind me the olive situation?
Yeah, hold on.
If the Giants draft Shador, is that what it is?
Yeah. So if the Giants draft Shadur Sanders at number 3, I got to eat this.
Only number 3. So if they were to make a move up the board in the back end of the first round, do you have to eat the olives?
What do you guys think? I mean, I would
Some.
because I'll eat a large handful of them because I went through the I went into the store to buy them and my wife called me at Acme and was like, "You're not buying olives, are you?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she said, "We have olives." And I said, "Why the fuck do we have olives at our house? It's disgusting."
You actually shop at Acme? That doesn't feel like a real place to me.
All right, Rog is coming out with the Giants pick right now. Coming up in just a minute, Hayden Winks and Josh Norris.
Yeah. Everyone else have a great time during this draft. Have a nice time.
Browns could take Jeanty at 5, Mark.
What?
All right, there you go. Carter, with some real bling. Holy shit. Abdul Carter goes number 3 to the Giants as expected. There you go. And without further ado, let's bring him in. Let's bring in our resident studs of NFL draft coverage, fantasy coverage, the whole thing. What's up, guys? So let's start here. Hi, guys. How are you?
I'm sweating my ass off right now in not a hot way, in a bankroll way. But let's see how tonight goes, guys.
Oh, bankroll.
Hey, let's talk about the move. What do you think about Hayden? What do you think about the Browns move, getting out of the Travis Hunter pick, and Jaguars moving into it?
Yeah, this one stings. Obviously, I think Travis Hunter will turn the franchise around. I think what they're saying is...
That sounds like Marc shutting off Hayden's
He was
mic
muzzled by
before he could
larger
say something
powers.
critical about the Browns process. Josh, you want to jump in?
Yeah, since Hayden and I share a brain on our shows, I'll take it from him. You're dealing away a unicorn. I'm sure you guys have referenced this, and I don't watch every episode of Family Guy, but it's like, oh, I don't know about a boat. This box could be a boat. You know, the superstar that they try to go and draft at number 5 or in next year's first round could have the qualities, the traits of being a potential Hall of Famer like Travis Hunter is. Like, there is something that has gone on over these last few days where they either felt from a team building standpoint that we don't want to add this part, we don't want to add this piece, and instead all that we care about is adding future assets for the quarterback in the future. And man, I think that's like a dangerous tightrope to walk.
Can I just say, like, if you go back through the archives, like Natalie Portman, the young actress, when she was young, was discovered in like a Brooklyn
Kind of an
diner.
alien move there.
No,
we know who Natalie Portman is.
All right, but I was gonna say she was
very
discovered.
famous.
She was discovered in a Brooklyn diner, and like someone understood this is a very unusual talent, and we build what we're gonna build around her. Instead, the Browns we'll settle for like a third generation Liza Minnelli. Like, have a nice time with that, because we've seen this show before, and I as a Browns fan, it's just like you keep doing this. Take this generationally
Doesn't
beautiful
it bring
player.
up the Julio Jones highlights in your brain?
Wait, you tweeted about it, and we talked about it before even on the show. It's like, it is that again. So have a nice time drafting, Taylor, the defensive lineman, and like three
Phil
other
Taylor.
guys.
Greg
Phil Taylor.
Little.
Right. These guys vanished and were working in like civilian restaurants 4 years later, and you had Julio Jones. So I don't need to sign up for this.
That's a good comparison to the young human actress, Natalie Portman. Hayden, we're dying to know the rest of your thought. Is your mic operational now?
Yes, hopefully so.
All right, good.
I think what they're saying is we don't have a quarterback and we don't have a path to a quarterback, and we need as much ammo as we can. But I agree with you guys. Like, this one stings. The Browns needed some good news, and Travis Hunter was the good news, and he's going to be a absolute superstar. But I think Andrew Berry, I'm guessing what's going to happen, he's probably just going to move down once again at 5, or possibly so, and move around the next couple drafts. And we'll see what they do at quarterback. So to me, this one stings as a fan. I think if you do look at the actual numbers here, Jacksonville did offer up a lot of picks, more so than what people were even expecting. I threw it out there earlier on Twitter, and it was even more than what I threw out there as well. So I think Andrew Berry only cares about what the spreadsheets are saying there. And I do think the spreadsheets did say that this was a worthwhile selection, but the pressure instantly becomes on the team. You got to hit on these draft picks, because otherwise process doesn't actually get you the results that you're hoping for.
Conor, question to you, because you know the inner workings of these teams. Where do you think the Haslam's fell on this? Do you think that they were of the opinion that, hey, we are okay of getting rid of this type of talent that can now be the face of our franchise other than Myles Garrett, and all that we care about the picks? Or do you think they had to be talked into this one?
I think that this has been, since the moment that he went on record effectively apologizing for the Deshaun Watson trade, or calling it a swing and a miss, whatever you want to call it. I think that the job has been to stop swinging out of your shoes, to recoup some of the assets, and to get back to ground level. I was saying this before you guys came on. This is not a white flag scenario, but it's also a team having to understand what their own strengths and weaknesses are, and the sheer magnitude of what it's going to take to continue to allow Travis Hunter to be Travis Hunter. You're going to have the best communication. You're going to have the best of everything at every level. And maybe they're just like, hey, or we could wind up with a couple blue
A
chip
boat?
defensive tackles, yeah, or a boat. But I will say this. So I talked to Joe Madden a couple of weeks ago about Shohei Ohtani, right? And about the process, and sort of the mindset that went into managing the Major League Baseball's first two-way player. And he said, you had no idea how many people in the analytical community in Major League Baseball were afraid of this guy because of the metrics that say, well, the chances of injury are this. And Joe Madden was of the mind that, like, hey, everybody gets hurt. Who gives a shit? But the other side of that coin is there are a lot of people who think of Travis Hunter as a massive risk. And it wouldn't surprise me if Paul DePodesta and Andrew Barry are of that mind, where it's like, hey, let's run the calculations on this percentage of soft tissue injuries. Like, how many of these things could potentially happen versus, hey, let's get a couple defensive tackles, let's get a couple offensive linemen, and let's learn to survive in the AFC North. I'm presenting a case
hear
for
you.
them.
No,
at
I
this
hear
point.
you.
Yeah.
Should we talk about Abdul Carter at all?
Yes, let's
Dan?
do it.
Or are we just going to talk about?
No, I think it's time to
which
move
we
on
could.
and process it because the Browns are going to be on the clock again. Sure enough, Edge Abdul Carter, stud out of Penn State. How special is this kid, Josh?
Hayden, I'll pass this one over to you. Like, to me, this is the other blue chip talent in this class. And I guess my biggest question, not to instantly jump negative here, is I don't think that this Giants team that the fans might remember, that the beat writers from ages ago, the Graybeards, can remember, of the Strahan, Tuck, Kiwanuka, and I'm missing
Umenyiora.
Osi Umenyiora, where you could mix and match these guys based on different alignments. All of the three pass rushers they have now that they've either invested a second round plus contract in, a top 10 selection, Kayvon Thibodeau, and now another top 5 selection. I don't think you can use them in the same exact way. So one guy must leave, and to me, that's going to be Kayvon either in this draft or next year.
Yeah, I see the same thing. He's just a speed rusher, which is what they already have. Now he's a damn good one. And the fun part about Abdul Carter is he actually decent against the run too. Like, his tackles for loss numbers among edge rushers, 85th percentile. So even though he's small, he actually had lots of TFLs back there as well. And then the thing to watch about him when you guys do see him in the NFL, the thing to keep an eye out for, his inside counter move. He obviously is setting these tackles up, and even some of these centers up the middle. But he can knife back inside at an incredible rate. And that's what Micah Parsons has been so good. TJ Watt's also been super good at that. So he's not going to be Myles Garrett. He just doesn't have the size capacity to do that. But I do think that the path to him being that next tier of edge group, I do think that's what Abdul Carter is going to turn into.
Can I ask a question? Because, like, I think if you're just more of a casual Giants fan from somewhere else, just being like, wait, so we just drafted this guy 2 years ago who we want to move on from because someone else fits better. It's like
Your friend.
Oh, well, yeah, we're rotating through the same position. Like, why are we not building strength on strength?
All right,
and
hold that
actually-
thought. Hold that thought, because the Patriots just made their pick. It is Will Campbell.
Yeah.
Not a stunner.
Mark, I will answer your question and maybe turn that into the Will Campbell chatter too. This draft probably had two, again, to use this term, blue chippers, two guys at the top that in any of their class would most likely be top 2 or top 3 picks. One Travis Hunter and 2 Abdul Carter. So I just think like the drop off where they could have gone and gotten a corner or gotten into your pass rusher. I think you just have to do this because it's not like Kayvon Thibodeau's lit the world on fire. Now, to Will Campbell, I don't know what screams at you traits-wise with Will Campbell here, but man, if we've learned anything, you have to give these young quarterbacks an environment and an infrastructure to work in and to be comfortable in. And this just appears to be the Patriots' #1 offensive lineman, albeit historically low wingspan for the tackle position. And so almost certainly they will start him off at left tackle. But as we just saw with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee, he wasn't afraid to use, pick 11 or whatever it was with Peter Skoronski. So at the very least, you're getting a tackle or a starting guard for a very long time to pair hand in hand with Drake May.
The last 2 tackles, because he had Pettit Frere as well, also had below average wingspan. And I checked on this with a couple evaluators, and they just said of Campbell, like, the foot quickness is so elite that we just don't care. Like, really, I mean, that's it. And if you watch him, it's almost like you're watching a YouTube clip on like 1 1/4 speed, and he just has the ability to recover. Whereas some of these guys, it would obviously freak you out, the lack of the reach. But I think Vrabel has historically just been like, I don't give a shit.
The Patriots are an interesting case because it's easy to forget now, but they had the number 1 pick in hand, and they go and they win that meaningless Week 18 game against the Bills, drop them here. So at the end of the day, yes, could they have ended up being in a much better spot and maybe traded out of the first pick and got a huge bounty and all this stuff? Yes, but from the positive side of it, they still get the first offensive lineman off the board, and Hayden, I guess when it comes down to it, everyone believes that this kid Drake May could be special. We know they still have work to do in terms of the playmakers. I know Diggs was a step in the right direction on that front, but giving him a potential kind of locked and loaded blindside protector for the next decade, they came out of this okay in the end.
They had to go tackle here, and I think there's a good chance he's going to end up at guard. And the good news for them, I guess the bad news, is they also need a guard spot, so they have at least one of these spots filled up. I think like the one thing that I saw with Will Campbell, and I ranked him actually pretty low in my personal rankings, is he is really quick. He's really calm as well. I just thought there were some guys that would just get into his chest and kind of just collapse the pocket. And that makes me a little bit nervous because not everybody in college is super strong, but everybody that he's going to be facing in the pros is really strong. So that would be like the one thing to keep an eye out for because he is fairly lean. Talk about the wingspan over there. And I did feel like it did pop up on tape, but there was like not an easy solution. Like the other guy that I would have taken was probably like Arman Membou, but that's going from right tackle over to left tackle. So there was not a clear cut answer at 4th overall.
To go back to your point, Dan, I am no newsbreaker, but I did hear that the Patriots and the Jaguars were the 2 teams trying to trade up to this number 2 overall selection for Travis Hunter. And the Patriots offer, I'm not going to say didn't come close, but when the Jaguars just went ahead and put that first-round pick on the table, they weren't going to match that.
Put it this way, Josh, as a Jets fan, the idea of Drake May and Travis Hunter was terrifying. So this left tackle, he could turn into a Hall of Famer. You never know, but
Dan,
but
I need this number 5 pick so bad. I'm not going to say a name because I don't want to spoil it for people. Yes. But I need this number 5 pick so bad. I just bought golf clubs underneath my wife's nose. Okay, and so if this number 5 pick goes correctly, then this absolves me of any of that.
All right, now let's set the table here because the pick is in, which means the Browns did stay at 5. I just want to make sure because the chat's saying don't spoil the pick. How ahead are we? Is that our international audience?
I don't know what
behind?
It is. I just know what I placed a friendly wager on.
They're being tweeted. Like once the pick is turned in, the insiders on Twitter get it, and there's people
so it's
in
not
the
us
chat
that are
who also
spoiling
looking
the
at
picks.
Twitter.
Okay.
No. Somebody told us who the who the Browns just picked, and I kicked the comment out so that nobody gets spoiled. But if you do that in this chat, I will put you in timeout.
Look at
so
Norris.
do not do it.
Norris is dying right now. Yeah, you're out if you.
I'm dying, dude.
All right, here we go. Against the rules of the family, golf clubs were taken. Look at this. Look at Stefanski. Look at him. Look, I'm part of the solution with my sanctioned girls flag football sticker. What a guy.
Well, why
Marc,
did you
who
need
do you
to go
want it to
down
be?
that road? At this point, I mean,
Marc in recovery mode right now.
I don't
Scrambling.
know. I
Travis Hunter?
I
You
just
want
go
this to be Travis
Shador
Hunter?
Sanders at this point.
How about Jeanty? How about Jeanty, Marc?
Yes, but it feels like it's a Nick. There's a Nick Chubb angle to that. But
What
yes.
does Norris need? We're about to find out just by his
Who does
reaction.
Norris want it to be? That's the
Yeah, Josh, tell us like what you're rooting for so we can root with you.
I need Mason Graham.
Mason Graham, defensive
snooze
tackle,
fest.
Michigan.
Yes! Yes!
The dog is barking. It's a celebration.
It's the underdogs, baby. Let's go! Come on, Zap. Come here, bud. Zap, come here. Come here, boy. Come here.
You've simply scared the dog. Like, he's not celebrating he or she with you.
Oh, man, I'm so happy. All right, that is a Michigan man right there, DT Mason Graham.
Get some dog treats.
Congratulations. So there you go. You got a beefy man in the middle now of your defense, Sestog. What do you think about that pick? You okay with that?
Just give me a little bit of time. Like, I mean, I'll warm up to it. I'll read about him and like be way excited. But just like
Sassy, it's a live stream. You got to react, baby.
I think to Conor's point and to what people, it's like it's a sturdy concept. This is a highly touted player out of Michigan, Harbaugh coached before last season. I like all that, but like, come on, change the culture, change the world.
Do you think Connor, this is what Myles Garrett was told in the meeting, we are going to
Exactly.
trade out of the pick. We're going to go get your quarterback next year, but we're going to beef up the line and make your job easier, hopefully. I know this isn't the edge across the way that allows you to remove double teams, but obviously if you have a dog in the trenches, that helps everybody on the line.
Yeah, to some degree. I mean, it's not quite my take Carter take, but I think it makes some sense. I mean, the Browns have been swinging at this position in free agency for years while they've had Myles Garrett and trying to take pressure off him. And so if you view this as your long-term solution, I mean, Graham is awesome. He's super creative interior. He's going to be able to, I think he will be able to drag some guys away from him. It can't get worse for Myles Garrett, right? Like we said before, 30% double team rate, the highest of his career last year. That's untenable for someone that's nearing their age 30 season.
If
Right.
it got Josh, golf clubs, I think we all need to sort of sit on
What
that.
did
and be
Hayden
like,
get out of this? Well,
Yeah,
you know
nothing.
what? Let me say
I got
this.
nothing.
A happy co-host.
Yeah, let me say this because we got to get a plug in right now because we're live right now. Immediately after the end of round one, Josh and Hayden are going to be doing a live reaction. And if you have been following Josh and Hayden during this process, you know there's nobody better at breaking this stuff down. So getting their instant reaction to the entirety of round one coming up right after round one. How do they get to you? How do they find it, guys?
It's on the NFL Draft with Josh and Hayden YouTube channel. Immediately after pick 32, click on over. We'll be live. We'll be going pick by pick, thought by thought. Hayden, just to lift Marc's spirits, I'm going to ask you this question, okay?
Uh-oh.
What is the difference in Travis Hunter's ranking on your board versus Mason Graham's ranking on your board?
Oh, shit.
1 and 9. 1 and 9.
All right, not
He
too
snuck up
bad.
there at number 9. I'm shocked
Yeah.
by that.
Yeah, he's somebody that I think is going to be good. I don't know how he can be a superstar based off of his traits. It always makes me nervous when you're opting out of the combine and such, and you are fairly small. But he was actually very good on tape, and he does a lot of good things. I just think the big thing with the Browns is I just watched them have the best defense in the league a couple of years ago, and it didn't matter. At some point, your offense has to be watchable. And you got to at least take some shots on some offensive players eventually. So this is to me where like it doesn't like kind of square up where like you're the analytics based front office, you're trading down and then you just keep doubling down on defense. Like every other person in the analytics world, it would say try some offensive players.
So that was
takes we're going to
Hayden's-
have at 11:30 and midnight tonight on the NFL Draft with Josh and Hayden live stream. They're going to be enormous.
That was Hayden's attempt at making me feel better. So
Yeah.
I'll bathe in that for the next 20
So
to
this
30 minutes.
this Browns draft is not going chalk. So Conor, I know you have a Browns column that needs a little bit of reconstruction. So he's going to jump out for just a little bit.
I will be back in 10 minutes.
Okay, and that's a journo that is pooping his pants because he's like, God damn it, they didn't just take Hunter, and now I got to rework the lead.
Oh, we've all been there.
Tough one. All right, well, let's see. Where are we at now?
The Las Vegas Raiders with Pete Carroll back on his grind of sending out riddles via
Jeanty,
Twitter.
right?
Yep.
I think it might be an offensive lineman.
Well, that the clue suggested as much.
Ashton Jeanty, running back, goes
Wow,
to the Raiders.
I'm
There you go.
shocked.
Wow.
This
And-
is shocking. I was certain, Dan, that they
Yeah.
weren't going to go over Ashton Jeanty here. Certain of it.
Do you know
How
what?
wrong am
I file it under the same reason why I, Marc, and many others thought that the Browns bringing Hunter in made a lot of sense. Just a shot in the arm for the organization and a shot in the arm under new leadership and this potential game changer. Look at him. He's not as big as I thought. But I know he plays big.
He hides it well.
Yeah, 5'8.5", 211, but an absolute tank. Do you like the pick? I mean, you see him as a generational talent, a running back, because you kind of got to be if you go top 6 in the NFL draft.
I mean, my comp for him was Nick Chubb. I think there's obviously
Yes.
pros and cons with that. Like you see like an all-pro level rusher, but at the same time, Nick Chubb was on some pretty bad teams and a lot of it got wasted. And I think that's going to be the thing that the Raiders have to calculate is how good is their offensive line? How good is the other skill players on the team? And is there enough around Ashton Jeanty to like actually make him into a Nick Chubb version where you're seeing him run around in the playoffs? So that's the calculus that they have to make. Everyone knows Ashton Jeanty is going to be a stud, but I was kind of hoping that he was going to end up with a team like the Bears who've kind of filled out their offensive line a little bit more, but maybe the Raiders see some guys in day 2 or that Colton Miller, the contract, isn't actually going anywhere.
Are we surprised that the Bears weren't able to trade up? I mean, I just kept hearing like they want this guy so much, like just a couple spots to get.
I think the Jaguars are kind of the pendulum with that. That either they're going to trade back with the Bears or up at number 2, and then I don't know if the Browns, because their target all along had been Mason Graham. To me, Chip Kelly's a major factor in this because Chip Kelly's time in the NFL has been a bit of a roller coaster. His offenses went from anywhere to 4th to 27th in points scored. But Mark, every single one of those years in rushing attempts, his offense in the NFL, 4th, 7th, 11th, and 5th. So even when they were the 27th most points scored in the league per game, he saw the 5th most rushing attempts of anyone out there.
Yeah.
So we know what this offense is going to be. It's going to be a lot of Ashton Jeanty. Hopefully they can figure out some piece around it. And Geno Smith, we need at least one more wide receiver to like stretch them vertically a bit, and Brock Bowers in the intermediate area. And if that's the case, then we kind of get 3 levels of production here, I think, from this offense, which can be really, really fun.
Speaking of Brock Bowers, the Jets, I didn't say that they didn't miss on Brock Bowers last year. They went and they got a lineman, and Fashanu, I think, a guy that could be a very good long-term lineman for them, and he's their new left tackle. But I really wonder if they could pass on another highly ranked, highly touted tight end at Tyler Warren at number 7. That's who I think they're going to go with here. But we will see. That's what's coming up next. And by the way, also coming up, Josh and Hayden, do you know that at the end of this live stream, probably in about an hour, Justin Graver is going to head to the local gym, and he is going to do what I say he cannot. Can Justin Graver dunk? We find out live on the stream coming up in probably less than an hour. It's happening.
I mean, if he doesn't end up like Tom Segura, let's just chalk that up as a W here.
Yeah, we've talked about the Segura scenario, and if people don't know, he's a comedian that destroyed his entire body on a dunk attempt.
Literally.
Does that fall on me and Mark in terms of litigation? Is it
who brought this up? I'm sure you've gone through this story. We don't really, I guess, need to rehash it. But
yeah,
this is ambitious. This is ambitious from
this,
Greg.
Like I would refuse equal accountability with Dan. He's been on this beat for weeks. I am interested to see if Justin can do it, but I'm looking at the physical specimen. I have some questions, but I'm not like legally involved in this.
Play that clip
again.
again.
It would be the surprise of the night. It would be the surprise of the night if Graver can dunk.
I am absolutely certain that Graver can't dunk. And I'll tell you what, as good as the production value is on this right here, him ripping a nasty hit on the vape pen, this builds, it's kind of gross, builds into my confidence that he will not be able to dunk. But it's coming up later on this stream. Do not turn away.
Maybe you check all the people that vape. What percentage of them are dunking a basketball? It's got to be extremely, extremely low. So,
analytically, I think you're correct.
The last time I dunked a basketball was long before I started this nasty habit. So yeah, we'll see. I haven't even tried to dunk in many years, and I'm as excited to find out as much as everyone else is excited to find out if I can still do it.
I mean, Mauricio, Dan is a hater. It's what happens when you're a Jets. Everything he said is right. Never mind.
It checks out.
Josh and Hayden, we should let you go because you got a big day ahead of you, and I know a lot. You want to enjoy this draft and take notes and be ready. So thank you very much. Again, check out Josh and Hayden. Their live reaction, live stream coming up right at the conclusion of the first round. And boys, it was an honor.
Absolutely.
Thank you, guys.
See you guys.
Adios.
All right. There they go. And then there were 3. So, yeah, I do think the Jets go. I know there's a lot of talk that the Jets go meat and potatoes here, Mark, and I'd be okay with that because they certainly have the need. They have a big gaping hole at right tackle after Morgan Moses defected to the Patriots. But, we did that last year, and we invested a first-round pick, and that was a left tackle. And I just think that this Jets offense could use something else to balance it out. in the post-Aaron Rodgers era. So Tyler Warren is my pick. I know Jalen Walker's out there on the defensive side of the ball. He would make sense. But I really hope this is Warren. The 6'6", 256 out of PSU. It does bring back some bad memories as an old head, Marc, of another PSU, Penn State tight end named Kyle Brady, who the Jets
this
picked
is different than that.
in the first round, and that didn't quite work out.
This is different than that. I don't think it's the same situation that I was just dealing with as a Browns fan, because I think if they go offensive tackle or line, you've got to feel like you got to keep adding to that. Like, they've got to fix that and be dominant in that fashion. I wouldn't hate that.
I mean, the Browns thing was the number 2 overall pick, and it's okay. It's okay because they got a good value back. But yeah, man, it would have been fun. All right, we have another guest joining us. Very excited to welcome in Jay Gruden, Coach. What's up, Coach?
How you guys doing?
What's up?
Good. How are you?
What are your thoughts, Mr. Gruden, so far on the first round?
Yeah, it's exciting as usual. I think the first 6 picks have gone as expected, just not to the teams we expected them to go to. I never would have thought the Jaguars would trade up and get, Travis Hunter, and the Cleveland Browns would say, you know what, we don't want Travis Hunter, the best receiver defensive back in the league. Let's get Mason Graham with run, stop, and 3 technique. Kind of odd, but Cleveland needs some picks. But good move by Jacksonville, but always entertaining, that's for sure.
All right, the pick is in. Coach, I am a huge Jets fan, so there's a lot riding on this. I want the tight end. Let's see what happens.
Membou?
They took Membou. Okay. Arman Membou.
Can't hate that.
Offensive tackle. So I was just saying they have a huge hole at right tackle. They got Fashanu last year, so you have the left tackle set up. They actually have, if this kid hits, they have a really good young offensive line potentially with Vera Tucker and Tippmann at center, and now you add Membou. What do you think about him, Jack?
I think it's a good pick because if you look at the blueprint for a lot of these teams like Detroit and obviously Philadelphia, they dominate the line of scrimmage on offense, and you got to get these big bodies in there, and you got a good left tackle you drafted last year. Now you got Membou this year. You got a good center that you mentioned. To take the pressure off Justin Fields, you got to have a strong running game. And to have a strong running game, you need a right tackle that can really move the pile. And Armand can do that. He is a powerful individual, and it'll make it a lot easier on Justin Fields. Breece Hall will be a lot more happy. I mean, they can run the inside zones, the double teams, the gap schemes. Everything will be a lot easier with a powerful right tackle, good left tackle. And now the play actions and the bootlegs with Justin Fields, it's a no-brainer to me.
Is it tough? Like, you're a head coach, you're deep in these worlds, and like you get to this point where there's a lot of decision makers, and let's say they go offensive tackle, and like, of course we see the sense in that, but you could have had Tyler Warren if you're like creating a playbook and someone that can do so many modern day things. Like, do you sit there and stew a little bit if you're a coach, or you just kind of like try to put a nice smile on it all?
Yeah, I think that a lot of people would have been happy if they took Tyler Warren, but a lot of people would be happy that they got Membou. So I mean, you can't make everybody happy, that's for sure. The end of the day, whoever you pick, you got to make sure it's a Jet decision and everybody's on board. And I think that's what's going to happen here.
It's kind of the problem, though, Jay, right? Because right now, as we're talking about this, ESPN is going through the annual montage of Jets fans booing and freaking out at Radio City Music Hall and now in these other venues, because we always seem to get it wrong. And we did pass on Brock Bowers last year. If this kid Warren, whoever ends up getting him probably in the next 5 picks or so, if he turns into another Brock Bowers, you're going to be kicking yourself. But to your point, and Breece Hall is a guy, Coach, Breece Hall is a mystery to me, because I watch him, and he has moments where you think he can be an all-pro, and then there's so many games where there's just nowhere to go. And from my eyes, is not like a tape head or someone with the sophistication of a football man like you. Like, I'm thinking, well, is he not special, or has this offensive line never put it together? Obviously, having a right tackle, especially if he turns into a player, is a major help to a running back, right?
Yeah, that's the hope, right? You got to get better blocking. Give him somewhere to go. Too many times Breece Hall will get the ball, and it's like, where am I going? We got to have some holes. We got to have somewhere for him to bounce out to. And I think having a good, solid right tackle, right tackles really typically don't go this high in the draft. And you're right. if Tyler Warren turns out to be a Travis Kelce or a Rob Gronkowski, you guys will be sick to your stomach. But we're hoping that Membou will make Breece Hall a lot better, will make Justin Fields a lot better, will make your other tight ends and receivers a lot better, and hopefully it's a domino effect. But yeah, I wouldn't have been upset with Tyler Warren either.
Ceci, the other part of this, and it's crazy, but the Jets have never really had a truly mobile quarterback and a guy that they can build out plays for in a way that he's part of the running game. So I'm trying to. It's not that I have to talk myself into it because taking the lineman always made a measure of sense. But the way this team is built in the post-Rodgers era, I get it. I get why they've done this.
Well, I think if you're Aaron Glenn, too, you've come from a team that built its identity off of, like, at least on the offensive side, we're going to come and destroy you with large-bodied individuals. And it would be nice if the Jets did that in our lifetime as humans. So I don't hate – I know it's not the sexiest thing, right, Jay? On a draft day, you want the flashiest player, but this is how real teams are made that win. In the AFC, in a tough AFC, you can't have an offensive line that has your Justin Fields getting sacked 204 times by December.
Yeah, you're exactly right. I mean, the best player for the Eagles is probably Lane Johnson, the right tackle, and the best player for the Lions is probably Sewell, the right tackle. I mean, these are two dynamic players as offensive tackles. That makes the running backs better. Saquon a lot better. He's a great player anyway. And obviously Gibbs and Montgomery. And they got the offensive coordinator from Detroit who understands the importance of offensive line play, because without offensive line play, I don't care who your quarterback is, I don't care who your running back is, who your tight end is, it's not going to work. So you got to have the offensive line first, build within the trenches first, offensive line, defensive line, and then let's get the skilled players to make some plays.
I think it sets up pretty well now for the Panthers, who they have their pick in now, coach, and they really made strides, especially in the back half of their season, offensively. And it was great seeing Bryce Young develop after it looked like he was going to be a lost cause. The defense was, every year there's a defense is an absolute horror show. And I thought Carolina maybe over anyone else. It was obvious that they need to go get help on defense. So I think that's where they go with this. Where they go, Jalen Walker is still out there. Will Johnson, the cornerback, out of Michigan, is still there. What do you think would be the right play for Carolina right now?
I think Jalen Walker would be right because he can help in a couple different areas, very similar to Travis Hunter, offense and defense. Jalen Walker can help as a bubble backer, as a pass rusher. They could utilize him in nickel sub packages as a down lineman, a move around guy, A gap, B gap, whatever. So many things he can do. Versatility is key in pro football nowadays, and I think Jalen Walker's the pick.
What's going on with your golf game, Coach?
Yeah, let's hear about that.
You know what? I'm a solid 5. That's what I am. I don't putt good enough. I don't do chip very good. But I do everything okay. I'm like a Justin Fields quarterback. I'm not a great passer, but I'm a pretty good runner. And
ever since
I'm just an average guy.
Yeah,
just kidding, Justin. You're better than me.
You fit right in on the show, Coach. As Goodell walks to the stage. By the way, your suggestion to add the orange slice to the Tito's soda. Whenever I order it now, people look at me with a level of sophistication. So I thank you for that.
We're still talking about that as a group.
Yeah. All right, here's the pick.
It's called the Gruden.
All right, so I was wrong. We're all wrong because the Carolina Panthers decide the other place they need to get better is skill players on offense, and they take Tet McMillan out of Arizona.
Whoa, I like it.
Wow.
That might be the first big wow for me other than the trade because, Carolina, they needed to go get help on the other side of the ball. Can't wait to hear what Josh and Hayden say about this pick. What do you think about McMillan?
Obviously he's a big guy. They just drafted a big guy last year, Leggett. The same guy in the first round. So now they have 2 big guys. And they got Thielen obviously. So they have 3 good receivers. I would not have gone this way if I'm the Carolina Panthers. I'm going to get the I'm getting Jay. I don't understand it, but yeah, he's a good player. Just not a huge fan.
Jay Gruden meet Conor Orr meet Jay Gruden. Maybe you've crossed paths at some point.
He's a great player, don't get me wrong. I just think he's not fully developed. I don't like these 50-50 jump ball guys this high in the draft. He's not a great route runner, but he's a big guy, can make some plays. But now what are you going to do with Xavier? Just put him over there and stand by the water cooler?
Hey, Conman, what do you think?
Well, I think too, the way that they elevated Jalen Coker last year, who was an undrafted free agent out of Holy Cross and developed a great relationship with Bryce Young, that was proof of concept with what Idzik and Dave Canales were trying to build. Did you need to go out and get Tet McMillan when, I mean, people were talking about all the draft picks they had. They need defense front to back. I mean, Evero needs help here, man. And there's a lot of good defensive players that are still on the board here. I know Tet was on some teams' boards as high as 4 and as low as 50. I mean, I know he was that high variance prospect, but is that the way that you wanted to go with this? I don't know, man.
Yeah. I mean, eventually you're gonna have to stop somebody, and Bryce Young is really emerged as a pretty good, solid starter in the league. I was the same with you guys. I thought this guy was not going to make it as a pro quarterback, but he made strides significantly in the second half of the season last year. So I'm happy for him, but they got to stop somebody on defense.
Yeah, Connor, we were saying right before the pick came in, it seemed like an obvious
a lot of guys on the board right now.
Well, they gave up 534 points a year ago.
God,
that stands out to me as a number.
I wouldn't even look at an offensive player right now at 9. I mean, I'd be all defense, but that's why I'm sitting here with you guys, I guess.
Hey, we're going to add another person in the chat right now. It's a future Hall of Famer, Steve Smith, who everybody knows Steve, and it's an honor to have you here.
What's up,
Agent 89. Tet McMillan going number 8 overall. Your thoughts as the wide receiver expert?
Hey, man, it's a good pick. That's what I'm supposed to say.
Not a good pick, Steve. You know it, and I know it.
Hey, man, I got to go back to Charlotte Saturday, so I can't say look, I think it's an interesting pick. Obviously, you want to get more guys and give Bryce an opportunity to continue to keep doing well. It's just going to be interesting to see. I think they needed someone to play next to Derek Brown on the defensive side. So I just find it interesting. The offensive line, I get it. But that also tells me you're using 2 first-round draft picks back-to-back to get a wide receiver. So that tells me that you're not necessarily happy with your receiver room. So be interesting to see how it shakes out. You got Jalen Coker, who's there that they like, and then obviously you have Adam Thielen. He's long in the tooth, but he's still reliable. And then losing Deontay Johnson didn't work out, and then with Xavier Legette. So I'll be interested to see exactly how it shakes out. But I think Tat can play. He's a legitimate X wide receiver. He's going to play stationary stand outside. And let's see how it shapes up.
Yeah, so you had Bryce 1 overall, obviously in 23. Legette they took in the first round last year. Now they take another wide receiver in the first. So where did he rank amongst the wide receivers in this draft for you, Steve?
On my list, I think he was 5. I mean, it's a look. Here's the thing. It was a need. If that's a need, the unfortunate part. I've looked at the draft is like this. The draft is like you're going to the grocery store fresh off your workout. You got needs, and people are going to reach. You're gonna shop with your stomach. Sometimes you're not gonna shop with the logic, and that's just part of the draft. You get to reach. You get to acquire assets without having to deal with the compensation of a free agent or overpaying. So I think that's an understandable reach that you have with the draft.
It's a high-level metaphor. By the way, the Saints pick is in, and they take Kelvin Banks Jr., the tackle out of Texas.
Oh, wow. Okay.
This draft, man, are we moving or what? What is this?
Yeah,
609. We're already
People know what they want to do.
Hey, I'm glad we're moving because I'm on the network. I had the wrap-up show. It's 90 minutes, so the faster this thing gets wrapped up, the faster I get to bed because I'm on the East Coast time. Oof.
All right, Steve, we're going to let you go. I just want to ask, the next wide receiver off the board should be and why?
Who's up next? Who's up next with the picks?
All right, let's see. We'll check in.
Bears.
Chicago.
Bears, no.
Cowboys.
Cowboys. Gotta
Cowboys
do
will
it.
probably go with Golden.
Matthew Golden. Yeah.
Yep.
And you'll feel good about that? Somebody to play across from CD?
I mean, here's a part that people don't really understand. It doesn't matter what we think. They made the damn pick. It's too late now.
Well, that's true. But is he somebody that would make sense in that offense with Dak and CD and remade offensive line?
Yeah, I think so.
All right.
We would agree with you that we're on the periphery in terms of decision making.
It's debatable.
Yeah.
It's debatable.
Hugely debatable.
Steve, go back to it. We appreciate you coming by. Jay, we should say goodbye to you as well, buddy.
Appreciate you.
We
Thanks for having
appreciate
me
you
on.
too, Coach, dropping by on the live stream.
Maybe the Cowboys should take a defensive player as well because they can't stop anybody.
Feels like the Cowboys, there are a lot of places they can go.
Can I ask Jay one question before he goes?
Yeah.
Sure.
Okay, so Carolina.
Well, he should say yes. Jay, is it okay if Conor asks you a question?
If I ask, okay, so Carolina, both their head coach and their OC both started in the wide receiver room. As a coach who's gone through this process before, does that make you more inclined to take the position because you understand the value because you started there, or is it are you less inclined because you're like, hey, I can coach up guys like that I get undrafted free agents, 3rd, 4th, 5th round picks?
Well, he got the job at Carolina because he came from Tampa. He had Chris Godwin, Mike Evans. So maybe he realized that, hey, I need great receivers. And he, had Baker Mayfield, who was, passed around a couple times before he got there. So maybe he believes the receiver will make the quarterback better. So there's a lot of different beliefs, but, eventually you're going to have to get a stop on 3rd down to get your offense on the field, right?
That's absolutely true.
Yeah.
God. I still can't believe it. And Steve Smith said he thinks that Tet McMillan is his 5th wide receiver on the board.
Well, he was all over people's
holy shit
radiance.
He's my 7th, but anyway, whatever.
He's your 7th wide receiver?
Maybe 6th.
Good Lord.
And Leggett hasn't really lit the world on fire either. Anyway, all right.
Now, boys. Thank you,
Coach
guys.
Gruden,
Thank you.
appreciate you, bud.
You got it.
There he goes. Oh, there's Connie Wolf on the draft coverage. Look at that. Great to see her. All right. Now, let's take a breath here. Because this feels like it's moving fast. And we've churned through some great guests, and we had a Steve Smith cameo. Steve Smith. Let's bring in our next guest because first of all, we love these people. They always make our show better. And Jourdan Rodrigue from a firehouse in Los Angeles, and Michael-Shawn Dugar from not a firehouse in Seattle, I would assume. Jourdan, Steve, how are you, by the way, guys?
Doing okay.
I'm over.
No complaints.
All right, good. Jourdan, Steve literally laughed when he learned that Tet McMillan went to the Panthers, and that's a Panthers legend, Steve Smith. How shocked were you that they did not go defense and went with the wide receiver?
I'm shocked that they didn't go defense. I'm not as shocked that they went with Tet because there's a Canales connection going back with Jed Fish, who now coaches at the University of Arizona. They were former colleagues with a relative of Canales. So there's a connection there. I had heard that he would go anywhere from top 10 all the way down to 20. Some teams didn't even have him in the first round grade on him. My personal one was Matthew Golden, but I really like Tet as well. I think that what is not talked about him as much is he's sort of known as this like perimeter guy. I think that's kind of what he's been branded. He's done some nice work 15, 20 yards down the field too. And I think they're looking for that type of weapon for Bryce Young. They seem to be going with the method of it does not matter how many points are scored on us as long as we too can score points. But Matthew Golden was my one, and I think Dallas might pick him up.
All right. And Money Mike, we got Rog stepping to the podium now with the Bears pick, number 10. Let's listen in. All right, they're doing a Steve McMichael remembrance. What's going on in the firehouse? What's the vibe there, Jourdan?
Well, there's already been 2 liftoffs, so I thought I would come show you guys. This is pretty cool. Here's where a lot of the people are set up. The scouts are actually in a room behind me. There was a really cool. I was with a bunch of the personnel guys, and it was really cool that when the TV announced the James Gladstone move up. Everybody ran into the war room because they wanted to see how Les reacted to watching it on TV, which was really sweet. And it's wild. I got Dan, you'll not be shocked to know this. I got emotional walking through this building, watching like a lot of the crews are here. This is an operational fire station. This is the air operations department right here, and these are the helicopters that dropped water for a week straight without stopping, without turning off. They said they fueled them hot, which means they kept them rotating. Wow. So that they could drop water on the Palisades fire. And so I got emotional. I mean, you walk in there and they show you everything, and the Rams are set up in their offices. This is operational. We could evacuate at any moment. I hope we don't, but
somewhat risky.
This is, I'm not hat fishing today. Thank you, Stu. Hopefully my forehead is not too shiny.
All right. By the way, we have, not to interrupt, but we have another slight upset here, Money Mike, because the first tight end is off the board. It is not Tyler Warren. It is Colston Loveland out of Michigan, number 10 to the Bears. So very interesting. I know there were some whispers, Mike, that could happen. But I thought it might be maybe 2. Like I know Lance in his last mock draft actually had 2 tight ends going in the top 10.
They love tight ends
with Warren going first, but it's Loveland that goes off the board. How about that?
Yeah, that's a little shocking. I guess if you think you can easily see how the Michigan kid's probably a better just receiver. If you're just looking at that, where Tyler Warren's probably like, we can just do a bunch of stuff with them. But I definitely can see value in just instead of the the jack of all trades, master of none type of thing. That doesn't necessarily totally apply to Tyler, but the idea that like this guy does a thing really well that we value, good for them. I'm not really high on the tight ends in the first round type of thing. I feel like if you're picking, particularly in the top half of the first round, my general rule of thumb is if you are picking that high with your native pick, you probably have some other issues that can be addressed somewhere else. But the Bears offense, I feel like on paper does have some decent players, so you can maybe feel like we can make a luxury pick here. But I am surprised that the Tyler Warren kid didn't go ahead of him, just how much we had heard about that and how like insane all his highlights and stuff look. Like Tyler's film looks pretty nuts, particularly if you like start with that USC game.
They're going like 12 personnel on LSD at this point. Like that's okay.
Yeah. Once you get the ball in Tyler Warren's hands, he's super hard to stop, but it's scheming him up to get the ball into his hands to begin with. That's where Penn State for a few years ran into struggles until this last season. For him, something is taking off behind me, so sorry in advance for the noise. And it's fascinating to me. To me, this also is a move for their O-line, in my opinion. It's not necessarily. I got to mute. There's a plane landing right behind me, so
I mean,
it's also a move for their offensive line.
I appreciate what's happening there, but I appreciate the fires and all that stuff. It's like the Rams. Like, can we ever offer any level of like? We're going to chill out just a little bit.
Mark, did you just say, I appreciate the fires? Yes.
I appreciate
I know what you're saying, though.
Just the Rams are just like, got to take it up to 98 degrees.
I know what you're saying. Like, they could have set up. You know what they could have done?
I have such overwhelming anxiety and my feelings vacillate so widely because they've never done anything normal or regular ever since they got back here. And it is a panic attack on steroids every single day of existence.
You know, next year they're going to be in an active war zone somewhere. They're just going to be like, what else can we do? No one's asking you to be this way, Rams. Just chill a little bit. You're making Jourdan nervous, and we don't need that. Hey, cycling back a little bit, Money Mike, were you surprised about Pete, your boy, going with the running back at number 5, Ashton Jeanty, to the Raiders?
Number 6.
Can you guys hear me okay? You guys are all breaking
now
out.
I got you. Did you get me? You got me now? Hey, this is live television, Mark.
I can hear you. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, I was saying that. Were you surprised that your boy Pete took Ashton Jeanty, the running back, at 6 for the Raiders?
I was first surprised that he was on whatever the red carpet, green carpet thing is with Crocs on, bedazzled Crocs. I saw. I thought that was
yeah, I think they were
very
diamond
strange
encrusted.
By Jeanty.
Yeah.
I think he changed before he got picked. I was seeing when he was walking up, so I'm glad that someone made a phone call there. I was surprised by that. 'Cause the same thing I said about tight ends applies to running backs too. I'm kind of sounding like an analytics nerd. I just feel like if you're picking at 6 with your native selection, chances are your team has a lot of problems. You got to lose a lot of games to be picking that high. And does a running back solve those? Probably not. Like Pete Carroll doing that. I don't want to just assign that to Pete Carroll. This seems like a very spy techy influencey pick too. And also I think I should be very honest about this. You guys know I'm a proud Wazoo alum. I don't like the Jeanty pick hurts because as you guys can see, look how many of his highlights were against Washington State. He looked like Barry fucking Sanders in the game against us. He had 259 rushing yards and 4 touchdowns. It's unreal. So just seeing him picked by anyone hurt my heart. But yeah, I was surprised with all the other roster issues that the Raiders had. Went with that, particularly with the Membou guy on the board. I think I would have just went there.
By the way, if this ends, and my guy's got him, but if this ends with fucking Howie Roseman getting Tyler Warren, I'm going to lose it. I'm just going to...
You can't keep getting away with it!
Hey, also, guys, Jourdan and Mike, are you aware that we are closing in? In fact, I think Justin's got to get on the road because we are closing in just a few minutes now. Stay on this stream because we find out for once and for all, can Justin dunk?
What an unreal commercial.
Holy shit.
I mean, the amount of production value Justin puts into a self-serving promo spot is just incredible to witness. Like,
I knew that would be on your radar, Marc.
Well, no, but it's like that's he's capable of doing that. I wasn't aware of that. Like that was next level.
Justin said he's taking off now, just like that helicopter that could take off at any moment on Jourdan. All right, Justin, I hope you did your stretching because we're not going to wait all day for you to warm up at the gym.
Oh, I'll stretch in the car while Jessica drives. All right.
All right, drive
See you
safely.
guys there.
Oh man, now I got some anxiety, Jourdan, because I have been talking down Justin's dunk ability for months, and now here we are. We're on the precipice of the big moment.
Who's producing the show?
Even if Dan he makes it happen, you have new material and new ammo for the rest of his life because of whatever it was that I just watched.
That's true. That's true.
What in the rec league glory days the fuck was that?
He's actually wearing his rec league uniform. He wanted to wear that, and I said, "You can." Oh my god, he has an arm sleeve. That's so adorable.
That is incredible.
I have questions.
Oh my god, I love this so much. This might be my favorite commercial since what did Iverson and Jadakiss do? Was that a Reebok commercial back in the day? Like that might be my favorite ad since then.
Oh man, Jadakiss.
So good.
Jadakiss. He had the song that was "Why," right? Why people gotta. Why they knock down the towers?
Yes,
that was that one. That was a banger.
The problem is that Justin charged Underdog $1,500.50 for that, so we didn't. No one was asking for that.
All right, let's get so coming up in just a bit. Justin dunks. He's driving with his fiance, who's taking him to the gym right now. All right, the pick is in for the 49ers. Let's and here comes Rog. Marc, Rog is doing the thing that you hate when adult men wear white sneakers with dress jackets.
I don't have a problem with it with all people. Like I think it's there was a time period where a number of people I knew that were like 41 were dressing like 12-year-olds. This is a little different.
Let's hope they go big here. Let's go big. Let's go big.
You know, George Kittle's not getting any younger. Here we go. Michael Williams. Edge, Georgia.
Ooh, the Georgia guy. I like him.
How many defensive players have come off the board now?
Let's take a look here.
Let's see.
I like this. He's twitchy. He's very traits forward. And they play a lot of times with a front seven, so a wide front and an odd numbered front. And Robert Saleh being back in San Francisco, I think this is a really good fit for them. I'm sure they're happy that he is here with them. I could have seen them gone going interior as well with this. They had to go defense, in my opinion. And I really think that he really just fits. Like he aligned all over Georgia's front. He could do a lot of different things. And again, this is a very traits forward player. So it kind of vibes with what their scouting and personnel department does every year when they do look for specific traits and sort of upside with players. I like this pick.
What do you think,
Just
Conrad?
the third defensive guy, by the way.
There you go. 3 out of 12.
I was
3 out of
personally
11.
hoping that Saleh would be, because Walter Nolan is one of my favorite players in this draft, and I think he needs to land in the right place and with the right coach in order to succeed. And I thought him and Saleh would have meshed so well together, and I think he might have gotten the best out of him. And Nolan is one of those players now that I'm waiting to see how far he slides, because I think he has the possibility of being like one of the 5 best players in this draft, but he has to land in the right place.
All right. So the Dallas Cowboys are now on the clock as Justin heads to the local gymnasium. This is...
Whoa, do you see this in the comments, by the way?
No, what's up?
Someone is tracking Sessler and Zerline's mocks, and Marc is doing better than Lance right now.
Nice.
What's the surprise? Why are we surprised or laughing?
Wow.
Like it's not a surprise.
I like that, Marc. See, that's what
Holy
we wanted
shit.
from you on the mock draft. You got to give it back to Zierlein next year. You got to
just
bury
begun.
Zierlein. LFG mock Sassy. How good is it? Oh, I was just about to ask Justin, but he's literally driving to his fucking gym to see if he can dunk. Now I have regrets.
Well, she's driving, so he is available, from what I understand.
That's true. All right, the pick is in. The Cowboys have made their pick at 12. I feel like we're moving fast here. I have to say, Jourdan,
Yeah,
the propeller,
it's moving.
those blades they bother me. They're too close to your head. I know it's an optical illusion, but it looks like the top of your skull. Okay, now I feel a little better.
Well, I think it's noble. Everyone can now see how long my forehead actually is because I'm not wearing a hat.
It's
So
a
this
fine
is-
forehead. Here we go, Cowboys. All right, so the Dallas Cowboys, they do work in the trenches. They could have went in a couple of different directions. I don't know why, and it's Tyler Booker, the guard out of Alabama. I don't understand why, Money Mike, why we can't get CeeDee Lamb a dude across the way from him. I thought they were going to take Golden here, but their offensive line has depreciated significantly in recent years with defections, age, and injuries and retirement. So here's a young dog.
Yeah, I mean, if I got a tie on prospects, I'm probably almost always going to go with the trenches, assuming we don't need a quarterback. Like, all right, so like if they have Golden the same, which I really like Golden, he's my favorite receiver in this draft. If they have him the same as Tyler Booker, and I'm going to get the lineman almost every time, man. Like watching the Cowboys was pretty depressing after Dak's hamstring just went to hell. Their O-line, not great. Like I'm perfectly fine with always building up the trenches, man. Every year the playoffs remind us how important that is. And like Tyler was kind of billed as like a dude who's got to be in a certain scheme. I wouldn't be surprised if he's like scheme proof in the NFL. Also, he's just a really good pass protector. You know, like it's hard. Look at how many 3 techniques are getting $20 million a year. I'm investing in guards that can hang with those guys. Sometimes the math's just that simple.
And by the way, we've got Booker is easily the winner so far of the most exuberant prospect to come up on the stage. Big bear hug for Rog, and a lot of personality for Booker. He's going to like playing in Dallas.
He's a team captain, former team captain at Alabama. I really like getting him across the way from Micah Parsons. That's going to be, I mean, I know Mike is off the edge, but this is going to be interesting. He moves around, and that's going to be a fun young room across the trenches, watching those guys compete with each other. And I think, you hear really great things about how great he is off the field and how mean he is on the field. So I love that.
He famously declared in the locker room that anyone opting out of the bowl game had to come through him personally to do it at Alabama. Which
Oh,
is pretty
hell
wild.
yeah.
Don't you love that? Yeah.
Wow. We like that. Sestog, we like
Right?
that.
I am
Yeah.
very into it. Like, I think Jerry Jones, like, we love the player we just took. We love him very much. Like, I mean, no matter what, they're going to sell it to us a certain way. But like,
Hey, was that like your Trump and your Jerry Jones
no,
at the same
it's
time?
just like me not knowing how to do different dialects.
Great
Like,
guy.
I had picked Matthew Golden there, and I understand, Mike, where you're coming from. Like, you can't go wrong when you look back on like replacing big, beefy, giant humans that are like 1% of our population. So I agree with that. But I'm slightly miffed. I wanted to see Matthew Golden go to the Cowboys.
Yeah,
I'll sit right there with that.
Look at what the Dolphins have right here. I'm with you guys. I'm not tipping picks now, but like Jourdan talks about scheming open Tyler Warren. God, could Mike McDaniel do it and totally F over the GD Colts, which would be hilarious. But Matthew Golden would also give them the flexibility to trade Tyreek Hill by the back end of this first round. Like, I love this pick right here. I'm very.
It's got to be almost a lock that Golden goes in the next couple picks, right? Like, unless he's fallen. Both teams have a need here.
I'm also on, I know it's high, but I'm also on Gray's Able watch potentially for the Dolphins. A lot of people really like him, and he's basically got all 5 positions he's able to play, maybe a little bit less proven on the left side, at left tackle specifically, but he can unlock every other piece of that offensive line. I think our buddy Nate Tice calls him a offensive line enabler because he can basically plug and play immediately anywhere, including center, which is tough. The Dolphins, I beg of them to address their offensive line. I feel like Mike McDaniel will get twitchy and antsy over some of these really fun players, like Conor said, who are still on the board right now.
And Warren's still there at tight end.
Like, Chris Ballard has to be pooping in his suit pants right now, right?
Yeah, it's a mess. He's making a huge mess in his pants.
Should I do the frog drop?
I think
Because
the Colts
Justin's in
could
the car.
not go wrong taking defense either, man. It's not like the Colts defense is the Legion of Boom. I feel like they keep getting mocked like tight ends. That's cool too. But if they pick the best defensive player, I feel like that's a win for them as well.
Meanwhile, Justin stopped off at Cracker Barrel for 45 minutes. Like, we're in the middle of a show here. A pier. How about a pier?
Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be thrown because I am now the producer of the show as well. So hang on a second. Fuck this one up. Who just got taken?
The Cowboys took Booker.
They took Booker. Let me watch this. This is gonna be high
You're
level.
doing the producing.
Oh, hell yeah. I'm all over it, bro.
Got it.
I don't see a Booker board to throw up. So I think I'm cool.
Dan,
but if you wanna, yeah, what's up?
As a producer, where are you at on the P scale right now?
I'm a solid 8 out of 10. Graver just texted me. He must be watching in the car that he didn't make Booker. So how about that? Justin leaves the Zuzzer out to dry. First time I'm ever producing and I'm hosting. And he leaves me out to dry. No board for Booker.
We feel for you because from an angle of justice, you are correct. Like, Justin did you wrong there. Like,
Booker and Justin just texted that Booker was projected in the 20s. I made 24 top 10 guys, and Booker was probably 25. All right, I don't need those details, Justin.
Yeah,
just
that's
get
not
to the
saving
gym
us right now.
Just get to the gym. Shador Sanders, by the way, still on the board. Okay, Jackson Dart still on the board. I hit over. Money Mike on quarterbacks over 2.5 in the first round. That was my prediction. I'm not nervous about that yet because I thought that action was going to come to fruition 20-32. But right now, still just the number 1 pick, Cam Ward of Justin's Titans, the only QB off the board so far.
How many QBs are there? Only 2, right? Because Dart pulled out.
Oh yeah, I don't believe Dart is there now. Oh, Sanders.
So
is
only
in there,
2,
huh?
man. Vegas. No, it's Shador's in Texas somewhere.
Yeah,
I
that's
believe.
right.
I don't think he's
Yeah.
there. So it's only 2 there. The line's 2.5. Yeah, I feel pretty nervous about that because I think it's only Milrow there. So maybe you get Milrow and Dart along with Cam.
Well, they don't need to be at the site.
maybe see
Yeah,
that.
I just need them to come off the board. I'm looking at what other production flourishes I could throw up.
That's a good one.
Leave my car out of this. We just drove it to the Jersey Shore and it was totally fine.
I don't know. That's just
Totally
funny.
fine.
All right. So where does Sanders go? I think Sanders is going to the Giants. What do you think about that?
Can I offer a prediction on this?
Yeah. Go ahead.
Wherever Sanders ends up, him and Dion are going to pretend it was the plan all along. And they're going to be like, yep, like, see, like we knew and we called him and then they called us and told us and this is where we wanted him to go. That's my prediction.
I could certainly see that.
I think that would be a disaster if he goes to the Giants. That could be. I just don't like Dable. I just don't think he's a people guy, and it's like you got to get along with people to be a good head coach.
There was a report too, Mike, that the Giants so desperate to get that quarterback that they offered the world to move up to number 1 leading into tonight, and the Titans said no thanks. All right, here we go. The Dolphins now. Here's Goodell. I think Roger looks good. I like the white shoes.
He's held up well.
Yeah, he's pretty hot. He's a 7.5.
Oh.
All right, they go DT, Kenneth Grant out of Michigan. Man, Michigan, you know who's pissed? Jim Harbaugh. He wanted some of these guys on his team. They're all going off before he gets a chance to make a selection. You don't like that, Conor?
No. I mean, I don't know. There's so many more interesting players available. And I don't love it's just like a thing like when Mike was saying like not to pick kind of those glamour positions when you're high up in the draft. I have like a bugaboo picking 2 guys from the same position group that high because inevitably I feel like one is more responsible for the other one's success. And a lot of times it's hard to peel away the tape and to evaluate someone independently of the other person being on the field. Like Mason Graham is awesome. And maybe sometimes made Kenneth Grant look a little bit better. And when Nolan's still on the board, like he's just so much better. In my opinion, I think he's just so much better and needs to be him paired with Anthony Weaver. Come on. I mean, I think that would have been a home run.
Well, you could lean on the Browns having done the wrong thing historically. That could be in your wheelhouse there.
I think the point of this is sorry about the noise, but I think the point of this is he's historically, especially with Wink, under Wink Martindale, he's freed up other players. I mean, the Dolphins, I mean, this is a safe pick to me because it's not necessarily the most glaring need. The Dolphins did lose Calais Campbell, which he was quietly extremely productive for them and also freed other guys up. And this is a guy who you could line him up at a 3-tech. You could line him up at the nose. He's somebody who's interchangeable. Just basically like you're repuzzling and re-putting together Anthony Weaver's defensive line. And we know they are kind of out of the Wink Martindale and then the Mike McDonald sort of system. And so I think, you kind of are looking at him as a puzzle piece here who's going to start for you probably right away.
I feel really confident with the Colts on the board, Jourdan, that this is where Tyler Warren's.
That was what my mock draft told you as well, so you should feel
really.
confident.
Right, let's check in on that. Yeah. Let's see. Let's check in on. Look at the production work by Zuzzer in a big spot, right on cue. You had Tyler Warren going to the Colts at 14. So let's see if that's what happens.
Like a flood of misses here too, but like that, let's just latch on to the victories.
That's typically the best way. The best way to do it. Mike, what's going on in your house tonight, by the way? You got some privacy, or is it Grand Central Station?
Where I'm at?
Yeah.
Well, no, I'm at the VMAC. We're at the Seahawks facility.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay.
Yeah. I'm trying to find out if they're still serving food. They had some good shrimp scampi.
If you want to grab it and come back for the dunk, that's cool. And sure enough, there it is. The Colts get Tyler Warren, tight end, out of Penn State. So Warren goes to the Colts. Love it. Good job, Sessy. Nailed it. And look, his grandpa's. They're showing the grandpa who looks like he fell asleep. That's interesting. So Tyler Warren to the Colts, and that gives them a little juice. I like that move for their offense a lot. Actually, I think it's a perfect pick for them.
Well, pair with that head coach. I love it. Yes.
Yeah, Steichen perennially loves using these tight ends, and I'm still curious about the quarterback getting the ball to said player, but we'll see how that goes.
Oh yeah, that's a slight issue. That's fair.
Where are we at on Justin, by the way? I fear I'm getting close to time here on my end. Not for the Rams picking, but for I might have to run here in a second.
We could also text you about what occurs if that
Jourdan,
if that would
you got to go, you got to go. They've hit a little bit of they're 5 minutes away to the gym. So if this is something where it's probably because he's still got to stretch and everything. So don't worry about it. Why don't you go back to your stuff, Mike? Do you want to go grab some food and come back for the dunk? That you're more than welcome.
How far away is he from the dunk?
He's 5 minutes, but he's got to tag in. He's got to stretch. He's got stuff to do. He probably got a 10-minute window here.
Yeah. Let me check.
All right, go ahead. All right, Jourdan. Thank you, darling. You're the best.
Bye, guys. Have
All right.
fun.
We'll let you know what happens. All right. I gotta be a producer here. Hang on.
You're doing a great job, by the way. I would be.
Yeah.
Look at that. How about that?
Yeah.
I just took him right out of the room, baby.
I'd be lost in space. So.
Oh wait, I think I have a draft board for Tyler Warren too. This is gonna work.
Look at this. He's like, I pressed the right button.
There we go.
Bye Uzbekistan.
Mark, if we put you Gen Xer on this, we'd be offline in about 30 seconds.
But I already agreed. I already told you I don't want it. That's not what I'm looking to do, and no one asked me to. Why is that?
All right. Okay.
It's annoying to me that Tyler Warren just fell to the Colts. Like, it's just frustrating. It's the obvious player that they needed. I think that there were some bad picks ahead of them. And what's frustrating to me is that Warren, and not enough people are talking about this, is going to upgrade your offensive line because he's going to help either your right or your left tackle chipping off the line, or he's going to be an H-back sometimes or a fullback. And I think it upgrades two positions for you. I don't understand why he wasn't taken sooner, and I don't understand why the Colts weren't penalized for not having to trade up for him. I think they got very lucky on this.
I respect the Conor or angle of it all, but I'll say that I like in general teams to be watchable, and this helps the Colts. And when we have our draft, for instance, during the season, and you don't have to avoid the Colts like a plague. Now they still, like Jourdan made the point, who's the quarterback? Who's going to be throwing the ball? Do we trust Anthony Richardson? No, we probably don't. But do we trust Danny Dimes? I don't know. They're two dart throws at this point. But whether it could be a situation where they blow up the whole position. But in Warren, you have a guy there that's there for 4 or 5 years, hopefully.
I'd ask you this, Conor. Does that sort of tell me that the Dolphins draft pick is the most disappointing to you? Because you were a little hot and heavy for them picking up a so-called chess piece, annoying, but someone that they could really play with.
Well, I also love Warren so much more than a lot of other prospects in this draft, and I probably just have a little bit of a bugaboo for him, and I wanted him to land in a certain place, and I think he's going to be great in Indy. I think Indy needed him more than anybody else, again, because he upgrades two positions, but it's frustrating to me when a team just sits idly by, and then they're like, oh, cool, exactly what we needed, that just comes right to them. Someone should have just traded up and taken it. Someone should have traded up because Miami could have gotten Kenneth Grant at 15, 16, 17, 18. Someone should have traded up and gotten him. Made the Colts pay for it,
That's all right.
I like that angle.
I get it. I get the anger. But if you're a Colts fan, you're feeling very good about that pick. And by the way, I've just gotten the update that Justin has now parked. He has parked his car at the local gymnasium. Everyone wants to know, can Justin Graver dunk? And just for a little bit of history, if you're on this stream right now, why is this happening? I don't even know how it came up. It was kind of a matter-of-fact thing. Justin claimed that he could dunk. I immediately called bullshit, and we decided at some point we were going to pay it off and figure out a way, and we decided it would be this live stream of the first round of the draft. So we're going to wait until he's ready to go, and then he's going to jump in. We're going to watch it together, and then we will sign off from this stream, and then we will do a full podcast, just so everyone knows, a full round one recap coming up later tonight that you'll get in your typical wherever you get our show. But thank you to everybody that's been watching so far today, and click the like button down below. Also on YouTube, also subscribe to our channel if you haven't already, so you can get all the updates on our content. It's happening, Mark. It's happening.
It's a very exciting time, and let's not displace our feelings. Let's be honest and be in the moment, and it's happening right as we speak.
Can I also be honest about this? I think it says something bad about me, and I'm owning up to that I don't want him to do it. I don't know why.
Oh, I don't want him to do it.
Oh,
Yeah,
it's
like-
better for the show if he
Yeah.
can't. So I think you're just a show. You are a show-centric individual.
Yeah, but I guess also if he does it, it will be a very memorable day for him because think about it. He's got the number 1 pick in the draft for his favorite team. He has a goddamn Titans podcast, for Christ's sake. So he's got all the juice of having Cam Ward.
He's got a house in Texas that's like 3 times larger than.
He's got a house in Texas, and now he has a chance to throw down a dunk, a feat of athleticism, Conor, that a man, he's 33 years old at this point. His best days are obviously behind him, but he's going to try to dunk. Then that's happening in just minutes now. As they show Shedeur Sanders in the waiting tent. That's tough. That's tough. Is he at the site? I can't tell if that was his. No, okay.
No.
He's somewhere. Doesn't matter where he is because he's got friends and family all around him. That's a tricky situation to be sitting in there.
Yeah, I almost like don't want friends and family around me when something dark is happening. I'll upload with them later, but it's like I don't need them hugging me and telling me everything's fine. So I don't know. I'm sure he's doing great. Like he's already made $11 million as a college player or whatever it is. So
I remember we were at the 2013 draft when Geno Smith was ranked as a first round pick, expected to go, midway through the first round. He slipped all the way to 39 when the Jets took him. And I'll never forget, we were back at Radio City for day 2 of the draft. And there was controversy because he didn't want to go and he was talked into it. And he showed up in the cashmere sweater as opposed to the suit, which I thought was a nice little subtle FU to the establishment.
Well, that was part of a disastrous run for him because he had fired his agents after that. And I think he was getting bad advice going in. And then the agents that he fired smeared him relentlessly, either right before or right after the draft. And he came in with just such a lack of momentum. And then to have him get his jaw broken by his own teammate, it was a long time before he had terra firma in the NFL. Poor guy.
That's true. I mean, it took a while, but now look at him. He's an established, not quite a star, but a multimillionaire starting for his 3rd NFL team. All right, let's see. The Falcons pick is in. The Falcons. What do the Falcons do here? What's the move for the Atlanta Falcons?
They need an edge rusher. And there's 2 really good ones on the board, 3 really good ones on the board.
Jalen Walker's still there, right? Let's see.
I went Josh Simmons, which is a lot of people panned because it wasn't a key need.
All right. My producing is
Boy, give me Mike
charts.
Green here. Give me Mike Green.
All right. Sessler
James
has
Pierce,
Josh Simmons.
Donovan Ezeraku. Something like that.
All right, here comes Rog. Rog moving better. I know he had a bad back. I wonder what happened.
Oh, he looks spry.
7, maybe an 8. There he is.
There he
Jalen
goes.
Walker.
Okay.
Edge, look at that right up, the board comes up.
Dan, I think the bigger story is that you did a wonderful job pressing the button or flipping that switch or a lever that you pulled. We're not sure.
All right, Sam Kinison. Oh!
What does that mean?
All right, Jalen Walker, linebacker, go out of Georgia. You're looking at his draft profile right there. I mean, the stats don't jump off the page, Conor. What am I missing in terms of what this guy brings? I almost said kid, but I don't like when journos say, "Oh, this kid can play."
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, I think that you have to separate impacting the quarterback and impacting the play from stats, especially when it comes to someone playing in a defense like this. But incredibly athletic, and I think that he's going to be able to blitz from multiple places on the field, which I think is super valuable for Raheem Morris. He did a really good job of that with his stunts and his games while he was the defensive coordinator in LA. So I think this is going to be a guy that will at least help you bring, whether it's, your simulated pressure game, whether it's, just doing more with less on defense. I think this is going to be a good deal for him. So, shit.
All right, he's there. It is. We have Justin Craver at the local gym. He has a hoop. That's good. He's getting warm. Look at him warming up. This is happening, folks. This is happening right now.
Do these people around him know that he's?
I know.
What do they think he's involved in?
Okay. Oh, look at that.
Oh,
All
I don't love
Well,
that.
I didn't love that. I didn't love that he was able to jump up and grab the fucking rim there. All right, is he about to do it? Is it happening? Is this it?
It's like a one-on-one game going.
Is he gonna dunk? Is Justin gonna dunk?
Okay.
Here we go. Wait.
Shit.
Okay. No, that is
Don't
not
count
a
that.
dunk.
Not a dunk.
That is not a
No,
dunk.
I would call that an A
Nope.
plus layup.
We'll give him another chance.
No.
Give him another chance. Give him another chance. That is. That was not a dunk.
I'm not impressed, but
I've added some acoustic cinematic with my producing skills. Oh,
love
now
that
somebody
they're
else is on the. Oh, another guy's shooting.
that's the thing. This other game
Guy has no idea 2,000 people just watched him drain that three. All right, here we go. No, no.
In fact, he almost fell over. If you want to,
And you know what? At his age, he's not getting closer.
And these other two are like, get off our court. Like,
Justin
enough
can't
with your
dunk.
shenanigans.
Look, where is he? Oh, is he? Should we give him one more try?
Yes, but if he were ever to do it now, it's still lesser. But okay.
Wait, someone chiming in. Oh no! Come on, Justin. Look at these guys are going one-on-one now. Poor guy.
I thought it was a guy and a girl. No, it's two guys. Okay.
I think that adds an element to it where it's like it's almost harder for me to dunk in front of two people who don't know what the fuck is going on.
I give him credit for that.
Versus 2,000 invisible people who I can't see.
I like these dudes playing, and then
it's so great.
Like Justin's girlfriend has got the camera on him too. They probably think he's like a failed influencer. Here we go, last chance.
Well, that was even worse.
Shit.
The long drive home begins now.
The longest drive of his life. The part of me does, I feel I'm thrilled about this, but at the same time, this was a special day for him, and he's not going to do it if he didn't do it on the first three, right? Okay,
He's going to get multiple choices.
No, he's just doing
these are
layups.
simple layups.
Yeah.
Like
It's not even close.
Oh,
poor
boy.
Jessica's gonna be like, I feel differently and don't know why. Can't quite figure out why. Like something's a little extinguished, and that's not fair. I don't think
gravy.
that's
fair. Oh, gravy. All right.
I'd get out of that gym as fast as you can.
Yeah.
Like at this point, you gotta hit the road.
Should
Like,
we?
don't-
Oh no, he's gonna Segura himself if he keeps doing this. Don't do it again, Justin. Now we don't want him to do it. No. Oh boy, here we go. No.
That's not.
No,
we
he did a
can't
layup
be-
and then he grabbed the rim.
No.
After it. And if he wants to try to play like that was a real dunk, he knows it wasn't.
Cut his
Look
hand.
at that! And now
Okay.
his hands are. I think. Oh, he's leaving. Okay.
I would
let's-
leave
Yeah.
the YMCA and get in your car and steer back to your home.
Oh my
Holy
goodness!
shit.
Can you believe it, everybody? Justin cannot dunk. Oh no! Oh no! All you people who believe, see, that's what you get for believing. There were so many people on me for being a sourpuss about it all, but that's what you get.
From another angle, it's like, Justin, give up everything and come join our show and come on this like crusade with us. And about 8 months later, we will publicly embarrass you in a gymnasium. But that's okay. It's like it's all
They
different
were.
angles.
Jace Carter puts it well. Those are power layups.
That's what they were. They were very impressive layups. Let's.
All right,
From a
the
floor.
Cardinals. Before Zumwalt can get too excited, the Cardinals take Walter Nolan, the defensive tackle out of Ole Miss. We're gonna
Yes!
end the stream now. Connor likes it.
It's a good pick.
Anything to say there, Connor?
No, he's one of my favorite players in the draft. I initially had him mocked to the Cardinals. I think Jonathan Gannon is a perfect person. I mentioned this earlier. There's probably 3 or 4 defensive coordinators who I think can maximize this guy. I think that Cardinals defensive line is going to be nasty.
I like that's good, and that's a team that can get that could use a few more dudes like that. So nice pick. I can't believe the Justin Can't dunk. Unbelievable. Everybody remember that we have coming up later a full recap of the first round. So make sure you get that. And we appreciate you following on the stream. This was really, really successful. We're very happy with the turnout. You guys, we were hanging around 2,000 for much of it. So we appreciate that. And now I have to figure out how to get the hell out of this. So Marc, as co-host, you stretch and say the long goodbye.
Well, it's been first of all, why it works is because we've got these awesome people to talk draft with. Conor, thank you. Like you are, like if a boat had just an anchor that could like anchor itself to any part of the sea, that's what Conor's been. And Justin, I'm not quite sure what I'd call Justin at this point. We're working on that. Impressions have changed, but Conor, thank you for joining us. Any major takeaway from the first round so far as Dan fiddles with buttons?
Oh, I found it. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Yes, Conor, hold that thought for the proper recap. Thank you again to everybody, and see you a little later tonight. And Justin cannot dunk. Thanks, everybody.